Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, and wow, what a night in Lyon. PSG wins it 3-2 in the final seconds in a game that had everything: drama, character, and a team that I think was on the right track. Yes, there were mistakes. A few questions about Chevalier, Zabarnyi, or attacking balance, but overall, this is the kind of performance that builds champions. We'll talk about Vitinha's deep role, Lee's continued brilliance, and the work of Zaire, Emery, and Hernandez stepping up for our injured fullbacks. Oh, and Lyon, let's just say their post-match behavior wasn't exactly classy. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are, PSG Lyon 3-2. We did get the win in Lyon, so a good result for us. We are back top of the table of Ligue 1, a win that, was built throughout the game but was finalized in the last seconds with the first goal by Zaire Emery on the 26th minute. Lyon got one back straight away from Moreira on the 30th, but Vara got the second one straight after that on the 33rd. Lyon equalized again at the beginning of the second half by Maitland-Niles, and then João Neves gets the winner at the 90th plus 5 minutes. So really in the dying moments of the game. A pretty entertaining game, honestly, like quite good in terms of quality. A lot of back and forth. I think both teams had their chances and their opportunities. Not everything was perfect on the PSG side, but I think on balance, I do feel like the win was deserved. So we'll go into it and debrief some of the big most important elements of the game. The first one, and I think like that's what I'm saying. I think on balance, a better PSG. I do think if you compare with our games, the last three league games that we had against Brest, against Lyon, and against Nice, it did feel like a PSG team that was on the right path. I think having our three midfielders back together, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and João Neves, made a big difference in terms of our capacity to hold the ball, in terms of our capacity to press higher up on the pitch, and even in terms of our capacity to create more chances. Not everything was perfect, like I said, but yeah, I think that the first half we're 2-1 up at halftime, and it's to me quite justified. I think we dominate the first half. Lyon manages to get a goal back on a defensive mistake, but it's the goal ahead at halftime is clearly not unwarranted. And I think in the second half, Lyon does a good job at the beginning of the second half. And towards the end of the game, they've got like two strong, like 5-10 minutes blocks. But in the middle, we managed to get the ball back. We managed to dominate in midfield again. And so overall, I think the 3-2 win is pretty well deserved. And I don't think Lyon's got much to complain about on this one. So yeah, the mostly part though, let's get into it. There's still question marks about our defense, and the two goals that get scored on us are very emblematic of the defensive mistakes that we still make. The first one is really it's funny because our first goal and their first goal are very similar. It's a long ball at the back of the defense from a central midfielder. So it's Vitinha to Warren Zaire Emery for us. When for them it's I think like Morton to Moreira, something like this, and they manage. They're quite good on their goal because they manage to draw one of our central defenders up the pitch. And in the case of the first goal, it's Zabarnyi, who moves forward to try to apply the press on one of their attackers who moves down into their midfield. And so it opens up the space at the back of the defense. And Moreira just makes a run for it in a very good timing. And Warren Zaire Emery, who's supposed to be covering for him on the right flank of defense, doesn't jump on it as quickly as he should have. I think that's where not having Hakimi there really makes a difference, because maybe Hakimi with a little bit more speed would have managed to get it back. But so yeah, Moreira makes the goal. He gets into a one-on-one situation against Chevalier, who's I think like not on the good timing in terms of stepping off of his line. And so like Chevalier is in the little bit of the no man's land. He's not on his line, but he's not like close to the attacker. And so Moreira, it's an easy finish for him. He puts it on the first post, past Chevalier. Yeah, question mark about Chevalier on this one. I think like it's not like the most egregious mistake of them all, but it's clearly not on the right timing. And I think like that added to a few other like little stuff throughout this game. It's like it's creating questions, and also like one of the things that really strikes me, and it's really like one of the first times that I see it, is that it feels like Chevalier is starting to let his confidence drop. I think so far, like he's made mistakes throughout, and like there's been problems here and there, but he never really let it show too much in terms of how he was approaching the game. And in this one, like you can feel that, yeah, like not being in the right timing, it's just so like emblematic of a player who's a little bit in his head, who's not like quite sure about the right way of doing things anymore, and that's really trouble for me, because like it's really hard, especially in this position, especially in this club, and especially when you're under the sort of pressure that Chevalier is under, to get that confidence back. So we'll have to see. Hopefully the international break is going to do him some good, but yeah, like that was a bit worrisome. And you see it as well, like when he tries to clear the ball out on like some crosses or corner kicks and so on, and like goes off his line. There's a couple of times where he's not in the right timing, where he's like clashing with people ahead of him. Like it's, yeah, like there's a few examples where he's not very clean. I don't want to be too harsh on him though, because he is our keeper and he's going to be our keeper until the end of the season. So I don't want to be like, you know, part of the now like growing choir of people who are criticizing him. Hopefully he can improve, and I really hope he does. But yeah, on this game, like the little mistakes were pretty visible and pretty annoying. And the second goal, actually, like I think the second goal, honestly, like I don't blame Chevalier as much for this one. It's the same kind of situation, like a ball at the back of our defense. Pacho actually like gets moved up the pitch, and so opens up a space at his back. That this time Maitland-Niles jump into. Beautiful ball forward, and he has a great idea. He's like he lobs, he puts one over Chevalier from like 25 meters out. And I think, you know, there too, Chevalier maybe is not in the best timing, and maybe he's not exactly in the right place, but like honestly, even the finishing, I don't think there's much he can do. And this one as well, the problem is that Maitland-Niles' run is covered at the beginning by Zabarnyi, because otherwise all of our defenders had moved forward to create an offside trap. And Zabarnyi is actually the one who's playing him on. So I think Zabarnyi does have his responsibility on the second goal, which is annoying because Zabarnyi, like, couple of stuff here and there where he's not completely clean, and I think like he had a difficult matchup against Moreira, who's very mobile, very technical, against a big physical dude like Zabarnyi. It's not the easiest for him, but I thought he had a couple of like very good bit of defensive work in our area, clearing the balls, putting his body between a shot and the goal. So like, yeah, I thought there was really some good stuff in his game, but on that second goal, it really brings a bit of everything down. Next thing I wanted to talk about, this one is a little bit more in-depth. I wanted to talk about Vitinha a little bit. Vitinha, he ends up being man of the match, and I think it's well-deserved. He has another one of those trademark Vitinha performances, where he bosses the midfield and organizes the game for us, kind of allows us to beat the Lyon press when it happens, create the chances, and like, you know, sent in an assist on the Warren Zaire Emery goal. Same thing, I think I don't know if it's him or João Neves who gets the ball back on the Gvara goal. I think it's Vitinha, but I'm not 100%. So anyway, he does contribute massively. At the same time, like, one of the things that really made me think, and like that's in the second half. In the second half, we get pushed back by Lyon a little bit. I think their press is a lot more effective at the beginning of the second half. and even in the end, and they managed to like really put us on the back foot and put us back in within our own half. And at that point, what happens a lot is that you see Vitinha drop into the central defense and really like try to organize the game from that far down the pitch. And it really made me think of like, yeah, I guess this is necessary because we're playing Pacho and Zabarnyi in central defense, and neither one of them is the strongest like passer that we have in our defensive lineup. You know, there's no Marquinhos on the pitch at the beginning. There's no Beraldo. Even Hernandez on the left is not like the strongest to move the ball forward as well. Zaire Emery tended to play a little bit further up the pitch as well. And Chevalier, I think his distribution was okay, but not the best that we've seen out of him. And so there was a little bit of like a little bit of lack of passing strength at the back to help beat that first line of pressing, which means that Vitinha had to drop back to do it himself. And it's fine. He does that. He can do that. And honestly, like it ends up working. But then you miss Vitinha further up the pitch. And I think like that's where, unfortunately, he cannot be in 2 or 3 places at once. But yeah, you see like that first goal from Zaire Emery. Vitinha is like organizing the game, but within Lyon's half. The second goal from Vara is getting the ball back. He's getting the ball back maybe 30 meters away from Lyon's goal. If he gets pushed back and he has to go down to organize the game almost to our own penalty area, then like he's not in a position to contribute to our game offensively. And there's 80 meters of space ahead of him that the ball needs to cross before anything can happen. And I think in this context, Joao Neves and Fabian Ruiz, was great to have them back, but I think at some point they were dropping off a little bit in terms of physical intensity, which is completely normal coming back from injury and having played a Champions League game at very high intensity like 5 days before. And our line of offense, Lee did well. Kvara was a little bit like so, and then like in the second half, we get like Mayulu is replaced by Ngentu, then Mbai is coming on. So we don't have like, our strongest player up there to create something. And so all of a sudden, it felt like we became a little bit toothless. We do regain the control of the ball and the control of the game, but we don't create as many chances in the second half as we do in the first half. I think that's where like also like, a lot of people thought like maybe the win was a little bit of a steal because it happens in the last second. I don't think so, but I recognize that like there's a little deficit in terms of creativity, and I think Vitinha, yeah, like it's great that he can drop so far down to organize the game, but I really like it when he can like move further up the pitch and really like try to organize from further up. And so that's where like you need in the end, you need like someone who can pass the ball out of central defense, like Beraldo or like Marquinhos, or you need like a player like Dembele who plays as a false 9 but drops into midfield and can like create space for himself in midfield and organize the game from there. But Vitinha, he cannot be in 2 places at once, and it felt a little bit like at some point we were needing him to be in 2 places at once, which isn't entirely fair. Let me know what you think of that, because I don't know if that's just me, but it really left that impression on me. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about was about Lyon. Yeah, I mean, I understand the frustration of losing a game at the last second. I understand the frustration when you're like going into a game and kind of everyone is expecting you to lose, and then you turn up a very, very decent and honest game. But at the same time, like, all of the players after the games are going on Twitter, going on TV, complaining that the referee was horrible and so on, that they had so many mistakes against them and so on. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, no, just not the case. So, like, specifically what they say is that in the first half, Zabarnyi should have had like a penalty against him for a handball in the area. Like, Zabarnyi is jumping to clear out a corner kick, and his hand goes up, and the ball, I don't even know if it grazes the hand at most. I'm not even sure it touches, honestly. And so like the referee doesn't give the penalty kick. And Lyon players are super mad at this. And then after that, like on the Gvara goal, they say that Vitinha fouls the Lyon player when getting the ball back. When Vitinha actually touches the ball first, coming from behind, and then like also touches the leg of the Lyon player. So I mean, like, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and I'm trying to be fair, and I'm trying to be like a good analyst and so on. Yeah, maybe if the roles were reversed, I'd be a little bit annoyed, but at the same time, like, 11 players and their assistant coach gets a yellow card because he complains so much, and like, it's like, guys, like, no, I'm sorry, it's not like, it's really like not clear cut at all. Honestly, like the Vitinha thing, I don't think that's a foul at all, because I think he gets the ball first. And the handball by Zabarnyi, honestly, like if that's a penalty, then like there's a fall from Mata on Mayulu as well, like 5 minutes later, then that should be a penalty as well. And then like, yeah, each team gets a penalty and we're at the same place. So, criticize all you want. If that's what you think makes the difference on this game, I mean, free of you to think that, but I really don't think so. I think ultimately, like, Lyon had some like good ideas in terms of projecting behind our defense and creating space by moving our central defenders up, which they used very well and scored 2 goals with. But ultimately, they didn't really have anything else apart from that. And like, even in the times where like they were trying to put pressure on our defense, yeah, they don't have that many like really, really big opportunities apart from the 2 goals that they score. So like, yeah, as like then we score 3, it's game over. That's just the way it goes. And then beyond that, there were a couple of things which I was honestly like a bit shocked at. That at the end of the game, the Lyon player go to salute their fans and so on, and the speaker of the stadium goes on the microphone and starts a chant of "Paris, Paris, we fuck you." And if it was the fans doing it, I think it's not very classy, but like it's like whatever, like it's the ultras, whatever. It is what it is. It's at the end of the game and whatever. But the fact that it's a guy who's being paid by the club who's starting the chant in a context in France where like literally like every game in Parc des Princes, there's some issue with the chants of our own ultras that's homophobic or racist or whatever it might be. No, I'm sorry, like that one was a problem, and like, it honestly shouldn't happen. And I don't think an employee of a Ligue 1 club should go on the microphone in the stadium and do the sort of chants. Just like, that shouldn't be happening. And the last one as well is that, as often in France, sadly, like the PSG fans weren't allowed to travel to Lyon to watch the game together. But there's always a few people who manage to find their way in the stadium on their own. And in this case, like when they showed that they were pro PSG after the 3rd goal, which was like, on such an emotional high that they had to celebrate a bit. There were a few examples of like some like, starting to get into trouble with Lyon fan, and like having to be like taken out of the stadium, more or less like starting to get beaten up a little bit and so on. I didn't get all of the details, and it was a bit dodgy. I saw some videos of like, yeah, like really having to like almost run out of the stadium. Yeah, like not like, I understand that emotions run high, but at the same time, those guys weren't like in the middle of the Lyon ultras. You've got to be better than this. And I think like for French football in general, we've got to think about how we allow the visiting team to bring their fans with them. And manage that, because when we don't, stuff like this happens, and it ends up being even worse for everyone. So anyway, this is what I had for you guys on this game. 3-2. The win. That's what we wanted. We're back on top of the table. I think a good game overall. I think a well-deserved win. Not everything was perfect, but after the defeat against Bayern, after players getting injured, it's nice to have a game where we just win it, and like there's really not that much to talk about. It's a win in Lyon as well, which is definitely like a contender for European spots, if not Champions League spot. So that is a good win. So I'll take it. We'll take the top of the league. We'll see what happens during the international break again. Hope for the best, and then we'll be back against Le Havre on Saturday in 12 days. But for now, please like this video if you've made it this far. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game and if I missed anything in my analysis. And as always, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're getting super close to 500 subs. So let's get it done, guys. And as always, even in Lyon, ici c'est Paris!